Hello and welcome to this episode of Westkey Customs. Today we tackle a Diecast Matchbox Model A panel van. Here it is as it was before. This is actually how I started. It was already a pile of bits in my sort of spares. So first thing I did was obviously take it apart, which was already done for me, and then put it in a paint stripper and remove all of the old paint to get back to the sort of bare diecast. What I need to do now is to turn it into the pickup that I'm planning to do. I needed to chop the back section of the diecast off. The van section of the main sort of body needed to come off. The actual base itself I'm going to leave as it is. So what I did was all I've got at the present time was just a junior hacksaw. So obviously took a hacksaw and started to basically saw the back of the die cast off. Actually took quite a while doing this. Quite surprised actually how tough the die cast was, or was it just a case that the junior hacksaw that I was using was blunt. I've since actually replaced this hacksaw with a coping sort of jewellery saw, which is a lot better, I find, for removing large sections of die cast. But basically just had to sort of persevere with it, and eventually I was able to cut the back section of the van off, which was no longer needed. Sort of had to do it in a couple of stages, go through first of all at the side, and then from the roof, and then from the other side, to basically cut and remove the whole section that was not needed. As I say, this was quite tough to do. As you can see, here I am sort of sawing away, and doesn't look like I'm making much sort of progress, but it is slowly starting to cut through. But eventually I sort of persevere a bit more and do actually manage to remove the whole section. So here you go. Here's the video a bit later on where I've clearly removed the back half. Don't need that anymore. So the next thing for me to do is I kind of gave myself plenty of excess material still on the main sort of cab of the diecast that I now need to sand back to remove. I didn't want to cut too close to the actual cab itself with the first cut, just in case I end up sort of cutting too much off that I actually still need. Here you can have a quick sort of look to see how it's potentially going to look like when you attach it to the base of the diecast, which I say is remaining the same, not really making any sort of alterations to the back. So here we go. I've now removed all of the excess diecast material from the back of the cab. As you can see, it's open at the back. The base itself may end up removing those little pegs that locate the base, the back of the van. Not sure yet. We'll see how it goes. But here you can see the base of the cab all filed down now to roughly where I need it to be. So the next step for me will be to obviously make a back for this truck cab. So the easiest way to do it, I find, is to just take a piece of plastic card or styrofoam and just basically cut that to size, make it slightly bigger, and then I can sort of glue it onto the back of the cab and then file it down to the exact sort of size that I need. So here I'm just drawing around the cab itself, so I get a rough idea of what I need to remove, what sort of size it needs to be. And then what I do is I'll cut it out with a knife and then sort of glue it onto the back of the cab itself. So here we go. I've actually glued the back onto the cab body now, so I'll leave that with some pressure on it to sort of glue. Just use normal super glue. It tends to hold this plastic on quite well to the die cast, I find. So I'll leave that for a little while to set completely before I start to file it away. Also going to be using the styrofoam to make the pickup bed. So here we go. Here's a bit later on in the day. I've now actually filed down the back of the truck cab, and as you can see, it fits quite nicely. Also cut a little recess, little window in the back to make it look more sort of original. Here's the base of the Model A. As you can see, not really had to do much modification, but what I'm going to need to do moving forward is to remove the little sort of bump stops for the wheels in the wheel arches, just allow the sort of slightly bigger wheels, and also for the stance to be lowered slightly. Here's the main sort of front grille bumpers section. Got to be making a bit of alteration to this. Here's the pickup bed that I've sort of scratch built using bits of styrene and flat bits of styrene and rod styrene. I've also made myself a little dashboard and a seat to go inside, because these ones originally come with no interior, so I thought I'd just add a bit of interior. I've cut the glass down. Luckily on these, the casting or the standard glass does come with a back screen, but it needs to be cut down in order to fit it in the reduced cab. Now just give you a quick sort of dummy run as to what it's potentially going to look like when it's done, if I can get the pickup bed on the right way. So it all fits together quite nicely. Just locate the cab into the rivet hole, and these aren't the wheels that I'm going to be using, they're the original wheels, but just gives you some kind of idea as to what it's going to look like when it's all done. Just replace the plastic base plate on the underneath, just to get an idea of what it's going to look like. Oh, the pickup bed has come loose, but it's only just held in there, so I'll just clip that on, put the pickup bed back in place, and that gives you an idea of the overall kind of end result for the die cast, how it's going to look once it's all been sort of finished and painted and bits and pieces and the wheels changed. Need to do a little alteration to the front grille, planning on moving the headlights and putting them separate to make it look more original. Might also put a fake sort of wooden truck bed in as well. So that's just a rough kind of look as to how it's going to be. It still needs a few more sort of filing down and overall sort of adjustments to be made to get it perfect. So here we go. Now I've sort of got everything sort of filed down and dialed into where I need it to be. Given the base plate a coat of primer, I had to remove some of the base plate in order to get the new axles and wheels to fit at the sort of stance that I want it to fit. Also drew a couple of little holes there in the front sort of fenders in order for me to put a headlight bar in. There you can see the pickup bed, giving it a coat of primer, and along with the actual main cab itself. Needs a bit of sanding down still, so a few little marks on the primer which I'll sand down before I put it into the base coat. So here we go. Here's the model now. It's all been painted up, ready to be put together. I've also already put the glass in, needed to glue that in. I've also put the seat and the dashboard in, not that you can really see it, but we know it's in there. Here's the base plate, all painted up as well, ready for the axles and some detail to go on. Pickup bed, there you go, put a little fake wood truck bed in there as well. Here's the base with the wheels bonded onto the base plate, so they're all ready to go. Decided to choose those wheels. Here's the front grille shell. I actually colour coded the front grille shell, painted the bumper back in chrome, and obviously removed the headlights. Made a small little sort of rear bumper to go on the back of the pickup as well, just to make it look a bit more original. These are the headlights, so as I said before, remove the headlights and I've put them on their own sort of headlight bar in order to make them look a bit more realistic. And I've got a few of these old sort of silver hat pins which I'm going to be sort of cutting down and making into little sort of door mirrors, and also to use for the rear lights on the pickup. The door mirrors will go into there, and I say the rear lights will go into the back wings. So all left to do is to put this together. So here we go, here it is all together now and finished. Happy how it turned out. I mean, it's not perfect, but for my first kind of attempt at doing a sort of a major sort of body alteration on the diecast, I'm happy how it comes out, and I think it actually looks quite a realistic kind of pickup truck now. So I'd say quite happy with how the pickup bed turned out and the overall sort of colour and the wheels that I've chosen. So I added the little details, you can see the little door mirrors I've added on, and also the rear lights that I've added on. Must apologise if there's any background noise. My neighbours are doing some grass cutting at the moment. But yeah, quite happy as well how the headlights looked. So overall, all pretty good. So thanks for joining us in this latest episode. Stay tuned for many more diecast customs to come. Many thanks.